Bonjour! In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use the pronouns in French. Here's the list of some pronouns that we have in French. Firstly, les sujets, which are the subject pronouns. Je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, and elle. Then we have l'objet direct, which are the direct object pronouns, which are me, te, le, la, nous, vous, les, and les. Then we have the indirect object pronouns, which are me, te, lui, lui, nous, vous, leur, and leur. And lastly, we have the reflexive pronouns, which are me, te, ce, nous, vous, ce, and so. Make sure that you thoroughly know the list of these pronouns so that you can appropriately apply them as and when required. Also note that the indirect object pronouns are used only for people and not for places or things. We also have the pronoun y and en. The pronoun y is used in lieu of any place, and the pronoun en is used for replacing the in any form, which is du, de la, del apostrophe, or des. Let's see how to place the pronouns. Rule number 1. Pronouns are placed before the verb. Example, Pierre parle à Hélène. Always remember to translate the sentence in English, then replace the pronouns in English, and then replace them in French. So he speaks to her. He would be replaced by il, and to her would be replaced by lui. So your answer would be il lui parle. Example number 2. Martin raises Martin. He raises himself. He would be replaced by il and himself would be replaced by se. So your answer would be il se rase. Example number 3. Here is the money. Here it is. It would be replaced by le. The word voici already includes the verb. So the pronoun would come before the verb. So your answer would be le voici. Example number 4. The friends drink coffee. They drink some of it. This is de of any form and hence would be replaced by en. So your answer would be ils en boivent. Rule number 2. If there are two or more pronouns, place the first person before the second person before the third person before y before en, and finally en before the verb. Let's see an example. Mr. and Mrs. Vincent give the books to me, which is they give them to me. They would be replaced by il, them would be replaced by les, and to me would be replaced by me. Me becomes the first person and les becomes the third person. So we will place me before les. So our final answer would be il me les donne. If you notice, we have first person before the third person and third person before the verb. Example number 2. The professor announces the scores to us. He announces them to us. Them would be replaced by les and to us would be replaced by nous. The professor would be replaced by he, which is il. So your final answer would be il nous les annonce. The first person is placed before the third person and third person before the verb. Example number 3. Mes parents racontent les histoires à moi et mon frère. My parents narrate the stories to me and my brother. That is, they narrate them to us. Them would be replaced by les and to us, that is me and my brother, would be replaced by nous. Parents would be replaced by they. So your final answer would be il nous les raconte. The first person before third and third before the verb. Example number 4. Mr. and Mrs. Legrand want to give some flowers to their friends. They want to give some of them to them. This is de of any form and hence would be replaced by en. To them would be replaced by leur and Mr. and Mrs. Legrand would be replaced by they, which is il. Your final answer would be ils veulent leur en donner. The third person is placed before en and en is placed before the verb. Now, the reason that we do not place the pronouns before veulent is that in English we translate it as Mr. and Mrs. Legrand wish to give them to them. So, in English, after whichever verb we place the pronouns, in French we place it before that verb. Our sentence does not say as they, them, to them wish to give. Our sentence says they wish to give them to them, and hence the pronouns are placed before donner. Rule number 3. If both the pronouns are of the same person, that is third person, then we place the direct object pronouns before the indirect and indirect before the verb. Example number 1. Ludovic shows the picture to his sister. So, Ludovic shows it to her. It would be replaced by la as image is feminine and to her would be replaced by Louis. Image is the direct object in this sentence and to her is the indirect object in the sentence. So your final answer would be he shows it to her. The direct object is placed before the indirect and indirect before the verb. Example number 2. The girl sends a text to her friends. She sends it to them. It would be replaced by le as text is masculine and to them would be replaced by leur. So your final answer would be elle, le, leur envoie. She sends it to them. The direct being placed before indirect and indirect before the verb. Next, les enfants donnent les fleurs à leurs grands-parents. The children give flowers to their grandparents. They give them to them. This would be replaced by les and this would be replaced to them by leur. So your answer would be ils les leur donnent. Now this rule applies for imperative affirmative tense only. Rule number 1. Pronouns are placed after the verb with a hyphen in between. Rule number 2. When there are two or more pronouns, we place the direct before indirect, indirect before y, and y before en. Do not forget to put a hyphen between two consecutive pronouns. The me and the change to moi and toi. The moi and toi change back to m apostrophe and t apostrophe when followed by y or en. The above rules do not apply to the negative form. Example number 1. Speak to the professor, which is speak to him. To him is Louis. Hence, your answer would be parler Louis. Example number 2. Show your room to me. Show it to me. It would be replaced by la and to me would be replaced by moi. So your answer would be montre-la moi. We place the direct before the indirect. Next, ne donnez pas l'argent à ce garçon. Do not give money to him. Do not give it to him. Pay attention that this is the negative form, hence we apply the earlier rules. So this would be replaced by le and to him would be replaced by Louis. So your answer would be ne le lui donnez pas. Example number 4. Give some chocolates to me. Give some of them to me. This is de of any form, hence would be replaced by en and to me would be replaced by m apostrophe, as the rule number 4 says moi and toi change to m apostrophe and t apostrophe when followed by y or en. So your answer would be donnez mon. For passé composé plus que parfait and futur antérieur, we place the pronouns before the conjugated verb and not before the past participle. Note, if avoir is the auxiliary verb, there exists a direct object and the direct object comes before the verb, then the past participle agrees in number and gender with the direct preceding object. Example, I spoke to my friend. I spoke to him, which is an indirect object. So, your answer would be je lui ai parlé. We place the pronouns before the conjugated verb and not before the past participle. Example number 2. Elle avait acheté les accessoires avant de coudre la robe. She bought them before stitching the dress. Your answer would be elle les avait achetés avant de coudre la robe. Now accessories is feminine and is the direct object in the sentence. Hence, acheté, that is the past participle, would be feminine plural and add an es. Example number 3. I gave the flower to my mother. I gave it to her. Flower is the direct object which is feminine and hence donner would take an e. Je la lui ai donné. Example number 4. J'aurais fini mes études l'année prochaine. I would have finished my studies last year. My studies, that is them. So my answer would be je les aurais fini. As studies is feminine plural, a fini would take an es. Placement of pronouns in futur proche and passé récent tense. In these tenses, we place the pronouns before the infinitive. Example, Marie va manger les repas. Marie is going to eat the meals. She is going to eat them. So my answer would be elle va les manger. Example number 2. Sam has just read the book. He has just read it. Il vient